Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today's May 7th, 2022, and I believe this is episode, I'm going to guess it's 502. I'm not quite sure. I'll check it when I go ahead and do the notes for this particular video. Okay, today we're looking at The Rush. This is a recommend. This comes out from Valiant Comics. It's number 5 in the line here. I do believe it's going to be at least one more. I can't see it going too much past it. I think they've pretty much gone through the story as far as I can tell. This hungry earth reddens under snow-clad hills, and it certainly does in this. It's a story about the gold rush and some very crazy, imaginative monsters that live within it, both human and inhuman. At the cover here, we've got this Pinkerton agent. They're kind of like detectives from the 1800s that you'd hire them. They dress very nicely, but they were kind of thuggish in their own way. And so this is kind of a character in this story. He is a character in the story that we get his backstory in this issue. And then we get this new creature that I haven't seen before. I don't remember him being in it. And it reveals some surprising details. Now, if you remember, this is kind of a mystery. The people working on it, and Vault Comics is the publisher. The writer is Spurrier, and he's doing a really nice job here. Nathan Gooden is the artist. I really like his work. Edison Duke is the colorist, and Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou is the letterer, and I apologize if I massacred that because I have no idea how to pronounce it. Now, if you recall, it's a mom going up into the woods looking for her lost son. The son went up there with the husband to stake a claim. They were not successful, and she found the husband and accidentally killed him. It was an accident, but she has gone up to find these incredible creatures that are standing in the way of them finding what happened to her son. She's got the aid of this Mountie here who's been helping her out throughout, being kind of a guide, and she's come across it's been kind of haunting her, is this giant elk. I believe it's an elk, maybe it's a deer, a reindeer, I'm not quite sure. But she's not afraid of it. She is bound and determined to find out what happened to her son, and she goes ahead and shoots it, or so we think, but it turns out to be this mysterious creature, and it also introduces this other person here. And I'm not quite sure if that's supposed to be a flashback or what, but here she is with her guide and then the MP as well. It's mounted police, so it's all happening in Canada, in the Klondike. So they're checking out. They see the winged creature fly off, as well as the man with a hole in him and the spider. He's kind of like part spider, part man, part spirit. Kind of a weird combination here. It's been kind of a creepy thing all the way through. The people that are living in the local town, they've all got gold fever really badly, so a lot of them are not any help. However, the group that she's been hanging out with seem to be helpful. So they go back to check on the elk or whatever, and they actually see, when everything dissolves away, that there's a body there. And the MP says, it's just as I thought, it's him. Who him is, we find out in part 5, the Thaw. So this is called the Thaw, obviously, for this part. The Rush is the name of the issue. And then we get this huge, huge backstory. So here's a lot of narrative in it. Not too much action in this one. However, the series is recommended. I think it's a little tough to read because it is kind of done in old-timey dialogue. And there's a lot of words that I wasn't familiar with, or combination of words that made it tough to understand at times. This is one that I really have to pore over a couple times before I can really understand or think when I've got it correct. But we get the story about how they're hunting down, the Pinkerton Guard is The Pinkerton detective is hunting down somebody. And in the meantime, I think her name is Nettie, is come back to the town. And this is where it gets a little weird, because she meets up with the MP, and they go off together, and she starts to seduce him. So this is the first time that we've seen any kind of sign. They're talking. He's telling the story about the Pinkerton detective and who they were chasing and whatnot. And you see, he gets a little bit more into it. And also, it's intertwined with this seduction she is putting on him. They talk about they found the Pinkerton detective found her with a local, and they went ahead and killed them both. As you can see there, so some pretty interesting stuff, very well thought out of. And then the Pinkerton detective gets overcome by all these spiders. But as you can see, she's starting to get a little tipsy with the booze. Her clothes are getting looser and looser. She makes a play for the MP. And there's really nice art in here. I mean, that is nicely drawn. Nothing too super sexual here. However, it also recounts the death of her husband and how she accidentally killed him, as she pushed him away, and he hit his head on a lantern and fell over and cracked his head on the edge of the walkway there. But just as things get a little hot and heated, they start reaching for things. And one of the things that the MP pulls up is a claim. Now, the son was too young to actually do a claim, so it was put in other people's names. And what we find out is this MP has been selling it over and over again, making money on it. And they both kind of draw their weapons when he discloses that fact. And as you can see, he's also with the Pinkerton here and the Indian Scout. Pinkerton has been shot himself at this point. Then this is the flashbacks, a slightly different tone in it, and I like that they did that. But it was sometimes a little bit too hard to tell that it was different, but it did work out, I think, for the most part. And you can kind of see it here. These are older, almost sepia-toned, a little more blurry, whereas it's more sharp in what's going on with this. So he lets Nettie go, as we think he is. I mean, they've gone off to his cabin. But what he really does, somehow, he seems to have some kind of contact with these creatures himself. And so he forces her out at gunpoint into the open. And as you can see, there's that creature waiting for her. Picks her up, takes her off. And what we find is the big clincher here. She's being flown away, and they finally land. The creature says to her, "Mama," and it's to be concluded in the next one. So it is a 6-issue arc. So apparently this is her son, which is kind of a twist on this whole thing that had been going on. There's been a bunch of weird characters and creatures and whatnot. So I don't know why her son turned this, because he was supposed to be underage. But there you have it. Maybe he had something to do with the locals. I don't know. But here's the next issue, and it looks like Nettie faces up against the half man, half spider Pinkerton detective. So this is a recommend. And I'll give you the blurb here. You can get in here. I'm having a little trouble reading these last few days, so I'm going to lay off the reading. Just if you want to pause your PC right now, you can take a look at that and get the little blurb, the Thaw. Okay. So thanks for stopping by, watching this video. I've got more to go. I almost did one on the Scorned, which is a Spawn team up. And I was looking through it again just before I got started, and I realized maybe I haven't read it because I don't remember any of it. I thought I had, so we're going to wait on that one so I get it read. But I will be back with more shortly. I had a couple weeks of traveling where I was unable to do these videos, and so now I'm glad to be back, and I'll be cranking out some videos. All right, you guys take care. As always, please like, please subscribe. If you haven't, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you all adieu.